Okay, go ahead.
Well,
Start over.
okay, well, when I was a young guy at home, we used to heat with coal because there was a coal mine right there and everybody worked there, and they'd get the coal for almost nothing. And so they used coal stoves, and what they do is the houses were high ceiling, and they'd put two or three sections of pipe together to go up so high and then over to the flue. And they use screws to hold them together, and they use guy wires to hold them up. But sometimes them didn't get tight or they work loose. Well, Mom, what she do at night time, she put a whole lot of coal in the stove and then close the damper and close it so it would keep until morning.
Mm-hmm.
And all you had to do is open the dampers up and poke it a little bit and it'd fire up and you had heat. Well, she was asleep, and all of a sudden you heard this voice say, "Jolene, Jolene," and she raised up in bed and looked, now this is after my dad died.
How old were you when your dad died?
How old was I? 6. And I was in the first grade. And but at any rate, why I know that is because whenever he was sick, his cousin of mine, Pierce Lentz, come to school. He told me, he says, "Your dad died," and I started crying and climbed the fence and run home. And he got there and he was still alive. And Pierce thought that was funny.
Oh, wow.
So that was another joke, see?
Who's Pierce?
Huh?
Who's Pierce?
Actually, Pierce is Jim's wife. What's her name?
Charlisa?
Charlize's uncle.
Hmm.
And her mother is Lenore.
What'd your dad die of?
What?
What did your dad die of?
Well, he died of double pneumonia, but it was actually a result of being beat bad. Dad was a boxer in the Navy fleet. He was fleet champion for his weight, and he was sort of proud of that. And he worked in the coal mines with these colored guys. Now in the town I was born in, it was segregated. They had colored taverns and white taverns. But Dad, when he gets out of the coal mine, he was supposed to drink one shot of whiskey for his horse. Well, he'd go on any one of them taverns. It didn't bother him. And he'd go on a tavern a lot of times. He'd be the only petunia in an onion patch, you know.
The only petunia in onion patch?
Only petunia in an onion patch, yeah.
Lonely petunia in an onion patch.
Yeah, he'd really.
The only white boy in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And some of them like to fight, see, and he loved to fight. Well, he could whip anybody in there because he was trained, you know what I mean? He was a trained boxer.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd walk all over them. But some of them took it as, you know, you whip them, well, you're a good guy, you know. If you run, well, you ain't worth a darn. And, but some of them didn't like it at all, getting whipped by a white man. So two of them waited until Dad got pretty well bombed out, and they followed him out. And they jumped him and beat him unconscious, left him in the snow.
Wow.
And he come up with a pneumonia, and that's what killed him. In them days, the strongest medicine for something like that was self-a-drug.
Was what?
Self-a-drug. They give you a
Sulfa.
shot.
Antibiotic.
And, at the time, he was in bed, well, they didn't have self-a-drug down there in southern Illinois. The nearest place was St. Louis. And Aunt Mabel come down, they had a brand new car, and the doctor come over to her and he says, "You reckon you could drive this car up to St. Louis and pick up that self-a-drug for me if I call and order it?" He said, "I'll get it here just as soon as I can." And he got in the car and she drove like a mad woman up there and got it and come back, but it didn't save him. He was too far out.
Was that his sister?
Yeah.
How many brothers and sisters did he have?
He didn't have any brothers. He only had sisters. He was the only boy.
Aunt Maybelle, Aunt Vi, and Violet, and who else?
Well, Aunt Myrtle was the oldest.
Myrtle
Aunt
Pirkle?
Huh?
Myrtle Pirkle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know Myrtle Pirkle?
That's just got to, yeah, that rolls right off your tongue, doesn't it? Myrtle Pirkle.
Aunt Maybelle, Aunt Myrtle, Aunt Maybelle, Aunt Vi, Aunt Clara, and Aunt Mary died 11 months after Dad did. She was the baby of the family. And she was put in a insane asylum. She went insane, but she'd go insane and then she'd be normal, insane and normal. Because Uncle Benny, her husband, his name was Benny Bradshaw, he'd go up there and play cards with her, and he was so tired, you know, he'd work all day, and they had to pay in them days. You had to pay for their upkeep there, see. They didn't have Social Security to pay that, you know. And he was so wore out working that one day he grabbed up the deck of cards to go up there, and you know, he used to play poker, you know, back and forth, and he picked up a pinochle deck, and he flopped it down on the table there, and she looked at him and she says, "We can't play poker with a pinochle deck." So she, you know, at times she was pretty sharp. But when she died, they done an autopsy on her, and she had a pus bag at the end of her spine.
Wow.
And that's what was driving her insane.
Wow. Huh. So back to your dad. Your dad got, he died when you were 6, and then your mom was in bed, and the stove was all.
Yeah. Mom, after Dad died, couldn't let go. And so she went to a seance people to talk to the dead. And she's halfway convinced that it worked. The spirit talked to her, said, if you look out your front window and you got a rose bush out there, now he didn't tell them that, but they told her that. If you look over, the spirit told her that. If you look over the top of that rose bush, you'll see a light. As long as that light's there, you're safe. And she looked over there out the window, and sure enough, there it was. And the nearest light, she had all the lights out in the house and everything, was about a half a mile away at just where the city started with street lights. And Uncle Bob was staying with us at the time. And Dad, before he died, see, he worked the coal mines during the winter, and in the summer months, the coal mines closed down, and he sold Watkins products. And he was such a dealer that he had a whole room in the house full of Watkins products. Like they had sold these double Indian blankets. So Mom had Uncle Bob to take one of them blankets and go down to that light pole and shinny up over that light pole and put that blanket over that light to where it blocked it out completely. That light still burned over that rose bush. So she was pretty. I'm halfway superstitious of it too. But I won't say it's the devil. I just say it's his spirit's working, you know. Because I believe we have angels on earth here. But at any rate, getting back to the story, what was?
She went to bed. She had the stove
she
packed.
went sleeping, and she heard Dad's voice calling her, Jolie, Jolie, Jolie. And she raised up. She said, "Huh?" He says, "If you don't get up and come in the front room here, you'll all be dead by morning." And Mom got up out of bed and went in the front room, and the stovepipe had fell. And the fumes from that gas stove was blowing all over the house. And she run to open the doors and windows and got all those kids out there. So things happen, you know.